Hello, 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 and welcome to Live Vibe Day 3. Super fun day planned. We're going to talk a little bit about adding that foreground. We're going to talk about creating girls, she art, right? You could do birds, you could do animals, you can do whatever you want. I'm going to focus on girls because, and faces and things like that, because that's one thing that a lot of you come back and say to me. All right, so this is still another one of the pieces from the first page that we did. Right. And I've kind of just started to layer on top of it the same way we did in day two's video. Okay. So day two's video ended up looking like this. I'm trying to see. Here's the original. Here's kind of what the original looked like, right? Just a random underpaper. Okay. And then last night, day two, you'll see I started to add different pieces and how to blend it in and getting rid of those layers, right? A lot of times we struggle with wanting to cover up that first layer. Like if I grab this one, I love this space right here. I absolutely love it. And I'm like, nope, I love that space. I don't want to lose it. In the viewfinder, it's like my favorite. Okay. But magic happens as I keep building on top of that and come up with, just a fun layered. We ended up having purple on the top. We put some of this yellow gold in here to kind of really give that contrast. We talked about color. We talked about contrast, like big and little, light and dark. Complementary colors is a really great way to do it, right? And then today, there is just some layers happening here. I did embrace a lot of that green, but I'm going to kind of maybe make the background a little more pink and orange, like some of the just pinky orange colors, because I took one of the faces and from the bits, kind of just do a little face shape, cut it out. I have this piece of jelly plate printed paper that I'm going to work with. And this will end up being her, her little dress type thing and her hair. And I've got to figure out her hair. But do you see how when I take this down, all right, I want to really think about my colors to get the front to pop and the other to go back. Okay. So in that, we're going to play with the background a little bit more, just kind of working towards, whatever it is we're working towards. I've got my favorite. It's one of my favorite. Well, the pink is a favorite, right? I'll switch the camera here so that we're just on the big. Let me put this on just so I don't totally trash my shirt here. I really need to get some Sugar Hill Studio. Oop, wrong way. Hold, please. Did it again. That one on. It's a little fussy. What we don't have is it might shake a little bit, but we don't have fuzzy. Everything's gonna stay in focus today. That's a good thing. That is a very good thing. Okay, on the left. There we go. So here's what I'm doing. I'm gonna lay down a little bit of this, I think. I'm just gonna kind of, I don't know, play a little bit, right? And I do have some gesso over here. I need one of my old scruffy brushes are great. Like when you get brushes that are starting to break down, they're worn in, don't get rid of them. They kind of work some magic. All right. Now, what I love about acrylic ink is the magic of its translucency. Okay, so I am kind of playing with this, deciding what I want. I'm going to kind of embrace, I've got a little circle there. I'm going to embrace it on this bottom side. Okay, look at the translucence, how other things kind of pop through. Now, if I do decide that I want to keep this circle kind of a circle, I could wipe some of that off. All right, I can kind of fill in back here, just getting rid of, if I get rid of a little bit of the green, which I love, it will help, at least the darker green, it will help kind of pop in some of, it'll allow this turquoise to stand out. Okay, so if I'm putting her here and that there, I'm going to kind of, I'm just going to do the simple bell shaped. Okay, and I did pick a spot where there is a little bit more green in the print. I want to make sure I cut it big enough. Now, of course, you don't have to, add the pieces and keep going with things like that, but I like to. I also like to add a little scoopy doopy for the neckline. You don't have to. We'll see what happens here. Sometimes it works and it looks great, and other times it looks a little weird. So do you see where we're going here? And how, as I added some of that acrylic ink and the translucency, we're getting a lot of play, and she's able to pop forward a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to take this, I'm just taking this down a bit. Let's see what happens there. That's a little bit better. That is a bit better. Okay, so I have my colors, so to speak, kind of set up here, and I know what's going to happen. And so I'm going to work on the background just a bit more. All right, just a bit more, just kind of reiterating some of these. And with that, we can take in some of the gesso, which is going to give that opacity that we had, or the translucency, a little bit more of a opacity, right? This is going to block out some of that. Kind of. Remember, if we layer, if we bring elements on top and behind, we're really starting to establish kind of a rhythm here. All right. Let's see, I've got some fossilized amber. Let's just kind of do a little splashy splash. Ooh, okay. Okay. I got a little there. And that's going to bring some of the deep tones back in. And I could You can see me down there, but see, blowing it around a little bit, kind of disperse that. That's kind of cool looking. We got that orange that I love. That's going to play off a little bit. So I just want to get this dry a little bit more. A little bit more dry. I can even help that along because this is the background. There we go. All right, so see what we have happening here? Isn't it fun? Oh, I just love it. It's like sherbet in spring. I just love it. All right, so now I need to decide, was that the perfect spot or do I want to kind of change things? Maybe this dark above her head might help get, do you see how that kind of created automatic hair? You see that? I kind of digging that. Kind of digging the way that's working. And I do like these here right next to her and the circles, and it leaves me some good space up here. So I think we're gonna go this way. All right, so I'm going to just pull out, I think maybe the dot punchinella. And we're just going to do just the gesso ever so slightly. Just kind of tone it down and bring it all together, right? A little bit in the back, a little bit in the front. Just kind of, in some spots go a lot more, a lot deeper. And others, I'm barely touching. I can control, you know, how things are kind of layering up there. And so by doing that, you can really see it on the camera. It's not so, but that is going to, again, kind of create a more subdued, kind of bring it all together. And I still think I need to hit just a little bit more. Just over that, just a bit. All right. So see, we kind of make marks and get all things going here without even intentionally getting too crazy. All right, so I'm just going to, I actually am going to, what do I have? I have, I don't know, just some ink right here. I'm going to dry my brush. I'm just going to, if I can, and get just a little bit more. And take the cutoff piece and we'll do it this way because this, there we go. We'll get it down that much quicker. And I just want to kind of go around in a circle, just where I know her head may be. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to glue it on and we're going to see what happens. Maybe I do her hair as flowers. You know, maybe we do a regular hair. We're going to somehow bring her out. And there. I like see how like by adding a little bit of that ink, it brought it down a bit so that I'm able to still have her in there. There we go. All right. So I'm just going to put her sweet little dress on. Now okay. I don't want her to stay pristine. Kind of set that there. And when I know it's shaky, I'm kind of wiggling my whole desk here. It's on wheels. It happens. I'm sorry. There we go. We get a little something there. Okay, liking it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take my very light pencil, and I know that about halfway down, give or take, I can put her eyes anywhere, but the cuter, depending on what look you want, if you want some, real radical or expression, you do you. You can do anything you want here. And you could, if you didn't have, if you didn't want to do the whole watercolor piece above, just use gesso or white paint to kind of give yourself a face and work that way, like we did on night one a little bit. Okay. So I know about halfway down somewhere, if I decide to do her eyes, and I could put a little nose and a little mouth. I haven't decided if she's going to be more cutesy or not, but here's what I do know. I do know that her hair, if I play it off of this, she's going to kind of come down, right? If I pull it this way and this way and kind of give her this big kind of crazy hair. And so with that, because I kind of have the green, I can come in here and just put it in a little bit so that I can start to determine how I want things to go. Okay. So that just kind of helps me see her hair. All right. As we start to build that together. And so her hair is going to kind of play off of her dress with a little bit, whether it's green or it goes brown or black or blonde, real hair color or completely off the wall. That's all up to you. But they kind of play. I've got a little bit of that brown in here too. But what it's doing, where is that? Lovely. I've got a lot of pink and orange in the background, right? So let me kind of show you. If I've got kind of pink, purples, and oranges in the background, I can come over here and I know that I can play in these greens. And the strongest is kind of sticking straight to like those deeper blue green kind of colors. Okay. So do you see how we're kind of playing there using Color Real Basics? We're kind of playing and starting to get that background and that foreground. All right. So my background isn't done. It's just in stage 12, but it's not finished, right? All right, so that's dry. So I do need to determine how I want to do her hair. And one of my favorites is my Inktense. Now, Inktense, Derwent Inktense are like ink colored pencils. So where your typical watercolor, Woody Stabilo, the Neo colors, all of these are water soluble, right? And they'll pick up every single time you get them wet over and over and over again until you, or unless you seal them. The Derwent Inktense pencils are ink, so they only activate once and then they're permanent. Okay, they're also very bright colors. So I'm going to grab the bark because that's just what I have here, and I am going to start to kind of play with what I just kind of foresee her hair doing here. All right. And I just kind of went off of what was happening in the background, and when I laid, kind of moved her head around. There was no planning. You saw that. There was no planning in what was going to happen. That's an okay thing. Now, if I choose, so I put bark in there, and I could add a little leaf green if I kind of want to play a little bit on that green until I know. And so this is just kind of the start. It doesn't mean I can't go get acrylics or whatever. Okay, and this is just the wet that I just kind of wet down my scruffy brush. As I just want to start to begin to see what I have going on. And this just helps me do that with some fun. Okay. And like I said, if I need to come in and maybe lighten some of this to get some of the lighter green, I can do that. I will start to pull them together. Okay. I'll start to pull them together with acrylic paint in a little bit. But using the Inktense kind of helps me set the mode. I'm also going to pull out that bark and that olive green. And I'm going to grab, this is just a colored pencil. And we're going to do some pink cheeks. Find and use. Now I'm switching. I had some pretty dirty water. I'm going to make sure I use my clean water on this one. And I'm just going to kind of get some little cheekies in there. All right. And because this is watercolor paper and I've been using watercolors, I'm actually going to come back in to my watercolors to add a little depth there. You don't have to do this, but it is something that I like to do. And I'm just going to kind of play with, I'm not really sure where her skin tone is going to go. But just kind of with this brush, I'm just going to define a bit. And remember, this is watercolor, so I can lighten and darken and do as I please here. All right. So you can see how I can start to really kind of play on skin tone and whatnot. All right, so if I was to pencil in, we've got her chin line. Kind of put a little bit of a mouth here. And have a little bit of a nose. And I'll get my white back out to highlight that, because the bridge of her nose really needs to kind of be simple. And then, you know, one of the easiest ways to kind of do eyes is just go downwards and give her some eyelashes down. And she just becomes the sweetest little thing. She becomes the sweetest little thing. All right. So now going back to playing with her hair. I'm still trying to determine, in case you haven't picked up on that if, you know, I want her to have green hair or if I want her to have some darker hair. But we're kind of bringing it all together, and it happens in the hair area because I'm bringing the foreground and the background really together here. Okay. And if I have green under to start, oops. Yep. It's acrylic and I can pull it up, but I do want to be a little more careful in there. There we go. All right. Do you see how that's kind of coming together? She's super cute. She is super cute with her neon hair. I like her. I will probably end up putting some dark in there, but this is where we're at with her right now. I'm going to grab my number 1 so you can start to see, and I'm going to keep her eyes very simple. Okay. And not do too much with her nose and her mouth. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Super simple, right? I'm just going to come in. Now I do have a brown micro pen that I do really love. You see that? See how she just came to life right there? Just don't be afraid of, you know, just going simple is very powerful. And I'm just going to keep building on that simple. All right, so poppy red in the lips. I do need my, there's one. This one's really small, but it'll work. Just a small little brush, and I'm going to kind of just pop that in. All right, see, super fun. Super fun. I love her. She's coming along. And we're going to do some fun things to her dress, you know, put some scallops on there, maybe a big heart. Maybe we layer. Could even kind of make her a mystic. Just put some of these on. That kind of brings that together and separates it. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. What else do I have? The yellow. I don't want the yellow. I'm just looking. Ooh. Ooh, ooh. We could give her some wings. Wings are good. Wings are good. What do I have here? Do I have like a set? Let's see how I painted. Just did some random wings. I don't know if I have another one in that color. I like that color. Let's see. Oh, maybe I do. I do. Look how that happened. Super. Could still have this down here, which I would go to pink now because I've got all that green. Look at that. Ooh, makes me happy. Okay, so now I've got to kind of really get her hair focused here so I can do something amazing with these wings and really start to pop her out. Loving it, loving it. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Let's see. We're going to add a little dark. Let's see. I think I have some browns in here. Let's see if this one works. This one might be too transparent.